Oh my gosh, I'm doing another one of these dang videos. Video schmidio. Finish strong. Schmidt is strong. Who the heck ever said something like that to you? I have no idea. Alright, let's see. Oh, that ain't right. I don't want that. Cancel. Cancel. Go away. Alright, are we still going? I think we're still going. Alright, let's bring... Here we go. Alright, already done one of these dang things today. Feeling grumpy. Alright, we shall overcome our grumpy stupidity. Alright, let's see what we can do, baby! Alright, let me see. Alright, so we're looking at that, and we're looking at this. Okay, so the social contract is the deal between us and the government. The government will protect our rights if we obey the government, do what it says, and it has various versions of it. So Plato is not a social contract theorist, but let's start with a little bit of Plato, not too much. Let's think about Plato a lot over the break. Try to put things together, all together a lot as we watch, the impeachment process play out, as we watch primary season play out, as we watch Congress in action next semester. All right, but let's kind of remind each other of a little bit of Plato. So there it is. A republic is a perfect place, and it turns out that his republic doesn't sound very perfect. So it may be that he's talking about the state of our soul. All right, so if you can't put a perfect place, at least you can make yourself study for a last test, and I can make myself do a video for a last test. All right, so remember the 3 definitions of justice, and those are, so like this first one's like the Ronald Reagan Republican definition. Just kind of obey the law, do what you're supposed to do, follow the rules, everything will be okay. But, you start to realize that certain people are in better position to obey the law than others. And, in fact, you shouldn't always pay your debts. These general rules don't always apply, I guess is the way of looking at it. Helping friends, hurting enemies. All right, yeah, so last time we said you don't know your friend, but it's this tribalism. That's where we are right now. We're in a politics of helping our friends, hurting our enemies. Our side rules, your side rules. And that it gets a certain distance, but we kind of realize there's something lacking in our politics we ought to do better. We're doing awfully well economically, but politically. And then this last one is what the cynical person says when they just want to give up on all of it and say, we all know, it's like the elite theory. Really, it's our elite theory that a few folks are controlling everything, and, common people don't have any say, and if you really believe in that stuff, you're a naive sucker. All right, so you got that little story, and, imagine the utopia. It ends up being a bad place. Nobody wants to really live there. So then, Socrates says, well, that's just because you're prisoners of a cave, and you're prejudiced, and you've been given all these ideas that are really kind of backward, and you need to overcome all these silly ideas and bust out and become a philosopher and be enlightened. All right, and, my favorite interpretation of all is that one thing we can't agree on is that, we want a well-ordered soul. That if you're wrong, that if you do whatever you feel like all the time, you're going to have a screwed up life. And if you're ruled by anger, you're going to hurt a lot of people and have a screwed up life. So you want to do the right thing rather than what you feel like doing, whether that feel like thing be smoking a joint or beating somebody up. All right, so we won't do Aristotle. We're coming to, there we go. All right, so social contract. All right, so it all comes down to what the state of the nature. So Hobbes says state of nature is terrible, so you obey any old government. So social contract is you obey a government that keeps you alive, whether that's Gaddafi or Saddam Hussein or Stalin or anybody. Your odds of staying alive are better under a lousy government than in the state of nature. Okay, Locke says, hey, it's not so bad. People are probably not going to kill you, but they're going to steal your stuff, your property, insecure. So you protect a good government, you give your consent to one that protects your life, liberty, and property. But if it's a tyrannical government, you do like George Washington here and revolt. All right, and that's very much in the Declaration of Independence. There's Fraser. Oh my goodness, he was feeling bad when I got home yesterday. He's ruled by his desires sometimes, and he eats whatever happens to be in front of him. And goodness, if it's chocolate, he's not going to be feeling good. So, hopefully he's feeling a little bit better today. All right, but as long as he hadn't eaten something that he shouldn't, he's pretty happy most of the time. And so the state of nature is a better place, according to Rousseau. All right, and so, there's the movies about that. But you only obey a government that does the will of the people. So these are all social contract theorists. All right, Montesquieu says that there's no state of nature. State of nature is made of nature. You just want a government that works, and to do that, you separate the powers out because one guy in charge is not going to work. All right, let's go to the review. All right, so then you're looking at, the Declaration. Okay. So go down here, more. These guys are all fun. These guys are all fun, but you got a whole semester worth of stuff. So remember, it's the Proclamation of 1763, then a bunch of taxes. There's the taxes. Kind of the story of the taxes. Townshend Act was glass, lead, paper, paint, tea. And it builds up until Lexington and Concord. Dr. McKenzie, you're supposed to tell us. Okay, so the first law was you can't move west. Then they're enforcing the Navigation Acts. The big one is the Stamp Act, tax on paper. So Sons of Liberty revolted against that. Were mean to the tax agents, did the boycott. So then they're cracking down. We say we can't pass these laws. So the Townshend Act was the fun one, glass, lead, paper, paint, and tea. But the Boston Massacre calls them back down again. So then the Tea Act gives them this monopoly to this tea company. So then that leads to the Boston Tea Party. So then the big crackdown, they closing the ports in the legislatures, leading to the shot heard around the world, Lexington, and Concord. All right, so there's the 10 steps. And gosh, again, that's why I hate doing these things. I mean, I'm going to breathe in a second and give my brain a breath. All right, so then we're finding the Declaration of Independence on here somewhere. Let's go ahead and take note that we have a republic, not a democracy. All right, and so that's what y'all just read about. Hey, are the founders, are they thinking that it'll work better, or is it going to work better? Is the founders' vision going to be carried out if the leader in charge, power to the people, or something in between like pluralism where you can impact a few things because there are a lot of access points? All right, so, our leaders will refine our opinion. They'll do the things we would do if we're thinking straight about it. All right, we're working for the Declaration of Independence. Dang, I can't find it. So the Articles of Confederation. Looks like we're stuck with the Constitution. I don't know where we're going to find the Declaration. So we read it. And so, it's got two parts to it, right? You got the famous part, we hold these truths to be self-evident, all men are created equal. All right. And life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, then all the he has it. So, it's a social contract. The government's supposed to protect your rights. If it doesn't do it, you got the right to revolt. King George hadn't protected it, so we're declaring independence. Okay, so then we tell the story of the Articles of Confederation. Okay, so we go up here. What we look at? So there it is. All right, first plan. It's a weak government. All right, what could it do? Pass laws, raise armies, declare war, and sign treaties, but no rest. Regulate trade, enforce laws, settle disputes, most important, taxes. All right, so 9 states to pass law, 13 to amend all of them. Just the legislative branch. States rebellion shows it's too weak. All those folks out in western Massachusetts being overtaxed by their states, and so they're breaking the law and taking over the courthouse, busting their buddies out of jail, and marching on the government of Massachusetts. All right, so then they call that meeting, right? Philadelphia Convention. All right, there's that again. More Articles, Confederation. You can pause it if you want to. Okay, nobody showed up in Annapolis, so they show up in Philadelphia. So Madison is the father of the Constitution, and he proposes the Virginia Plan. So you're going to, which is the big state plan. So then you're going to, and it was based on Montesquieu's idea, so you're going to come up with this thing, the Great Compromise. And remember, we had a good debate. Good debate over this Constitution. I thought y'all did a good job with that. All right. In spite of the fact, remember I just read about dressing up for Sonorville, and so everybody was a little feelings hurt, and y'all did real good with that. All right. Okay. So Great Compromise is over representation. So the House is based on the big state plan, the Virginia plan. California has 52 representatives. Delaware has 1. The Senate is based on the small state plan, the New Jersey plan. California has 2 senators. Delaware has 2. Okay, then you have the 2 over slavery, 3/5 compromise. That helped early Virginia presidential candidates. And the slave trade compromise kept the slave trade for 20 years. All right, so then you got the debate over it. Let's take a look at what the review sheet says. Yep, all right, kind of on schedule there. All right, and so, not that, that's the wrong one. There it is. All right, so they got to ratify it. Federalists were in favor of it, Anti-Federalists were against it. Hey, the government's too big and it's too far away. It's not going to respect people's rights or states' rights. All right, and the president's too much like a king, and the Electoral College is very elitist, if we can use that word now, undemocratic. All right, okay. So the Federalist Papers, they're promising what they're going to give them a Bill of Rights. That's one thing. So 10 limits on the government. They're going to promise George Washington he wouldn't be a tyrant, but also they're going to win over this really influential state, New York. You're going to get the Constitution, but it may not be the kind of government that's built to last unless you've got the support of Virginia and New York. All right, so Hamilton Madison Jay wrote it. It turns out that we're looking at a lot of Federalist Papers, but to start off with, we're looking at 10 and 51. So 10 is about the factions. So it's pluralism. All right, you get rid of the causes of factions. You take away the causes of faction, liberty, and making everybody the same. Well, that's awful. That's what he says. That's a cure worse than the disease. There's the dress picture. You can't make everybody the same. We see it differently. All right, we see Trump differently. We see abortion, immigration, gay marriage differently. So you can't make everybody the same. So you control it by spreading things out. A bigger is better. A big republic. All right, and that will spread out the factions and they can't dominate things. Then Federalist 51, that's his case, that it's the just right government. It's got to be strong because we're not angels. We're in the throes of our passions and desires. So we need rules and laws. On the other hand, our leaders are not angels. All right, our leaders, may lie about cheating on our wives, or they may break the Tenure of Office Act, or they may get somebody, lie about, cover up breaking into the Watergate, or they may put up Ukraine to spy on their political, investigate their political opponents. All right, so you got to do stuff about that. All right, so that's the checks and the balances, vetoes and overriding vetoes, and judicial review and impeachment and censure and all of that. All right, so you control the men with a strong government, control the rulers with the elections and the checks and the balances. And really kind of the debate right now is, should the decision over President Trump be made by our leaders with an impeachment process or by our people with an election in 2020? Either way, it's going to be in 2020. So should it be an internal check on him, impeachment trial and a conviction, or should it be an external check, the elections? All right, that's kind of what this process is coming down to right now. All right, so there's the preamble. You learned it. It was fun to say. All right, let's take a look at what the review sheet says. Time is of the essence on a semester-long review sheet. My U.S. history one ended up being an hour long. All right, so let's see what we got. Okay, so there's the preamble goal, so we'll keep going. All right, no, why not keep doing that one? There we go. So power comes from the people, we the people. All right, form a more perfect union. Improve on the articles The state, things weren't going well in the articles. Also, over time we want to get rid of slavery. Over time we want to, let's add that. Let's add that. That's important. In slavery, give women the right to vote. In other words, there's a knowledge that things aren't exactly right, so you're going to have a process for making things better. Okay. Let's see. Establish justice, that's fairness. Domestic tranquility. All right, we don't want the riots. We don't want the tribalism, really. All right, things are not, it's the best of times, it's the worst of times. Best of the economy, worst of everybody's at each other's throats politically. All right, provide for the common offense. All right, that's the military. The general welfare, hey, 3.5%. The welfare state was created to provide for the general welfare. Low unemployment rates also provide for the general welfare. Okay? All right, secure the blessings of liberty. All right, so freedom, that's the most important thing. All right, to ourselves and our posterity, for us and for our kids too. We want an America for our kids that's just as good as the America that our parents and our grandparents have and an America that we have. All right, so when is America at its best? When has it been at its best? Okay. Goals. So the 7 articles, the first 3 are the 3 branches: legislative, executive, judicial. All right. 4th is relations between states, firm faith and credit to each other's laws. Gay marriage questions kind of came up there. It's a federalism kind of thing. 5, the amendment process, 2/3 of states, 2/3 of Congress, 3/4 of the states. The last one was in the 1990s about congressional pay raise. All right, the supremacy clause, say it's a federalism thing. So McCulloch versus Maryland, Gibbons versus Ogden. If a state law bumps up against the national law wins. All right. The federals had to win over 9 of the 13 states. So there's the 7. Okay, I'm going to breathe while you go back over that. Think we're doing okay on pacing. All right. Okay. All right, so next we had, let's see if we can find it. Dang it, why do I keep going there? All right. Republican principles, so it's a republic, not a democracy. So look at that. So the House is the only democratic thing. So that's important to know. All right, the separation of powers, the checks and balances, that federalism chart. Remember, it goes nationals, war, money, foreign policy, states is PO, police, education, elections, license. Both of them, taxes, laws, court. All right. Where am I? Where are we? We're trying to get to federalism. Brutus, let's take note. Brutus says, Brutus quoted Montesquieu and said that Madison's wrong, that Montesquieu believes smaller was better. That, given it the tax, those taxes are going to grow. That states are not going to be able to limit the power of the national government. The elastic clause is going to be used to stretch the power of the national government. That a standing army is going to be a whole lot more tyrannical than like militias. They can suppress our liberties and come into our homes. Okay, so that's kind of Brutus's concerns. All right. Yeah, y'all did a good job. Good job. All right, the next thing on the review sheet. There they are. So there's the name of the national powers. Flash Gordon. Delegate, implied, inherent, enumerated, expressed, exclusive. All right. We'll come back. Here they are. All right, so 19 powers. So the economic ones, taxing, coining money, borrowing money, regulating interstate commerce, and then the 2 bad things. Bankruptcy laws, counterfeiters. Hey, Brutus was real concerned about taxing and regulating interstate commerce. The government's really going to grow because of that. All right, the military powers. Declare war, create an army and navy. Call up and train the militia, define and enforce laws on the high seas. Okay, piracy. Okay, y'all remember that one? And then you got that other thing, PPNFACE, right? Post office. Patents. Hey, the post office is a government corporation. We know that one now. All right, patents. The national government concern, naturalization is immigration stuff. You know, we're not, what standards, weight, and measures, we're not in the metric system. There's federal buildings in Washington, D.C. That's the seat of government. Oh, the seat of government's number 7. Federal buildings in other cities like Atlanta are number 5. Inferior courts. We'll get to the courts next time. All right, next semester. All right, now let's go up. So you got the court cases. Is that what it's at? All right, so it's the elastic clause. So Article 1, Section 8, Clause 18. After all those 19 things are listed in those first 17 clauses, all right, it says the government's got the power to make all laws which are necessary and proper for carrying out. Power to make an army and a navy and or tax and regulate interstate commerce and make post offices and all that. Foregoing powers. The Commerce Clause has really been a big time one on that. You know, we've looked at. What was it? U.S. versus Lopez, the court, ruled this time guns are not interstate commerce. All right. So they had the big debate over the bank. Hamilton created the Bank of the U.S. and Jefferson said it's not an enumerated power, so you can't do it. Hamilton said it was implied by the elastic clause, implied by the power to tax, by the power to regulate interstate commerce. All right, and so it stretched the power of the government over the years. National Bank, build interstates, dams, civil rights laws had been justified using the bottle of ketchup at the Heartland Motel. All right, so then there's the court cases. Maryland was trying to tax the bank. McCulloch wouldn't pay it. All right, and so it was based on the elastic clause and the supremacy clause. All right, and Gibbon versus Ogden, based on the supremacy clause. New York tried to have its own. Gibbon gave New York monopoly. Ogden, and then Gibbons had the national license, so he won. And Marshall's court's a very nationalist court. All right, there's all that stuff, and so then you're into the federalism stuff. All right, so look at the review sheet. So the federalism stuff, where is it at? All right, so it kind of comes down to the models and the grants and aid. Do we have grants and aid? Well, I better put that on there somewhere. Grants and aid. All right, and the grants and aid comes down to, dang it! All right, the categorical grants, remember, that's for specific things. And then the block grants are more general. Then you got all those other ones. But, I'm going to say you got to know those too. And mandates. Good enough. That's an order, like No Child Left Behind. So they're not giving any money there. All right, so then you got the models. So the dual federalism, Republicans like that because it keeps the national government under control. Strictly defined limits. All right, and, they'll use the phrase states' rights, which troubles liberals. All right, cooperative federalism, they work together on all this stuff, marble cake. And liberals, are okay with the government growing traditionally, and they don't like that phrase, states' rights. All right, again, for right now, I think we're kind of satisfied with that. All right, let's see if the review sheet says that. Okay. Okay, so then you're into politics, right? Oh, no, you got to have the arguments. These are the Same thing. All right. See, what do you want? No, it's not. No, it's not. My bad. All right. So going down. Federalism's a really important topic. All right. Y'all did okay on federalism, I believe. Oh, there it is again. All right. Okay. Okay, so CC, the functions. All right, so CCUTE, compromise between those two forms of government, keeps the government close, so you can contact your local leaders even if you can't contact Trump. All right, checks and balances. There's our Secretary of, what's he the Secretary of? Energy. Secretary of Energy, an oil man from Texas. At that time, he was the governor of Texas. All right, checks and balances. So Georgia was a check on Obama. California was a check on. McKenzie changed that. Good gracious. Trump. Sanctuary cities and all that. All right, so then you get to the unity, not uniformity. In other words, during Obama, Texas was a very different state. I mean, our Texas and New York are very different places, so they don't have to be exactly the same. All right, and then experimentation. States try things out, and then the national government copies it, and then there's all those governors that became president. Governor of Texas, Governor of Arkansas, Governor of Georgia. These two guys had not been governors, but governors, you get training as chief executive. All right, then you got the debate. So the decentralists were all these guys, Jefferson, Calhoun, Reagan, Scalia. They argue that the states made the Constitution, and they really like the 10th Amendment. If it's not given to the national government, denied to the states, it's reserved for the states. Centralists are all those guys, Hamilton, Lincoln, the Roosevelts, and Johnson. They say the first three words are we the people, not we the states. And the national government speaks for all the people in the way state governments don't over the years. There's Johnson taking on Richard Russell and states' rights. Okay, hey, there's Sonny, who was the Secretary of Agriculture. We didn't do that slide. And there's that again, and let's go over and see what we... So I think we go to politics. Is that right? Yep. Democratic constituency. So I kind of think we know the difference between Democrat and Republican. So then we got that slide on who all votes Democrat and Republican. It's going to be this one. I didn't fall for my own trick that time. All right. So that's going to be fun, but that is next semester. Next semester. Next semester. Next semester. Okay, getting into it. So there they are. All right, so there's the groups. Will these groups hold? Who should they nominate? Buttigieg. Kind of momentum if Biden falters. Should they nominate somebody way out to the left? If Buttigieg gets the nominee, will African Americans turn out for him because they're kind of conservative on cultural issues? Trump making the case several times to African Americans. He's not trying to win the majority, he's just trying to get 20%. If he could get 30% African, if he could hit 30% on either one of these groups, it's going to be a cakewalk for him. Okay, so all that. All right, the Republican constituencies. All right, evolving and, conservative Christians, even though maybe troubled by Trump rhetoric, they like the judicial nominees. And so we all understand that. We just get it. We know it. All right, so then how did it happen was socialization, right? Because of your mama and your daddy. They told you. And so, one of the reasons this stuff gets emotional is when you're getting fired up, you're defending your parents. You love your parents and they gave you these values and, you want to stand up for them a lot of times. Now, sometimes some of us disagree with our parents. But that's where the ideology comes from the family. All right, and then from school, my job is not to make you liberal or conservative, but make you love your country, all right? And then, hey, your college professors, they're going to have more of an agenda. All right, and hey, people, you talking to each other, you influence each other when you're hanging out at the bowling alley. All right, okay, then religion. All right, I have often pointed out that most great liberals in American history were also religious. You know, the civil rights folks and the abolitionists and the women's rights leaders. They're all very, very religious. Okay, and then, 60s, hippies, abortion, gay marriage, 60s, 70s, 80s, the religious right. If you're a white Christian, you're more likely to be conservative. Now, if you're a black Christian, you're more likely to be a Democrat, but not so big on gay marriage, all right? So kind of cross-pressured. All right, there's that, people kind of, how do I put this? So where people, next year when I hit that, people are not going to giggle nervously. Identify with historically disadvantaged groups and tend to be, how's that look? You like that better? All right, let's see. Dr. McKenzie, that was just kind of blunt. Why you got to put it that way? Sorry. All right, my bad. I will try to do better. And so then I got to make it smaller. All right. There we go. All right, so Catholics, they're the swing vote. And Catholics are really divided on Trump. I just read an article about Catholics and impeachment, Catholics and the election. Catholics are a diverse group. Jews identify. Well, that doesn't make any sense. There we go. All right. So African Americans, Trump's trying to change that. Maybe, maybe not. All right. Biden to get a higher percent than Buttigieg. Latinos, is the Democrat vote going to be 60% or is it going to be 80%? So they're cross-pressured. On the other hand, Cubans are conservative, right? So Florida, big Cuban population in Florida. So Florida has basically all the different groups in America. All right, gender, ladies, a little bit of a swing vote. Right now, suburban ladies are the key. So even Kemp is reaching out to suburban ladies. Are a key vote. All right. What's impeachment? What impact is that going to have on this suburban mom vote who turned out against Trump in the midterms? What's going to happen? We don't know. All right. So then you got political culture. That's what we believe in. All right. And we had an acronym, lied crap. All right. L for liberty. So this is like Tocqueville. Bowling alone, what we all believe in, the things the ties that bind us, stronger than the walls that divide us. We are bound together by belief in liberty. Political equality. We don't want one group to have more power than the others. Not socialism. All right, individualism. So lied, L-I-E-D, individualism. Who you are, what you think is more important than your group. Democracy, we believe the majority should, rule most things. It's a liberal democracy where you've got minority rights, but we still, we get upset when we feel like the will of the people is thwarted. Think about that. Democrats are upset that the Electoral College has thwarted the will of the people. And Republicans are upset that the impeachment process seeks to undo the election as the will of the people. All right, justice and the rule of law. All right, rule of law goes both ways. Republicans talk about rule of law when they talk about immigration. Democrats talk about rule of law when they talk about impeachment. All right, patriotism, optimism, idealism. All right, Reagan's patriotism is a more optimistic patriotism. Trump's patriotism is kind of an angry patriotism. You know, what the heck are you doing to our country? All right, American Dream. We all believe in the American Dream. You know, that's why you're studying hard still. You know, you want a better life. You know, you want to get into a good college. Hey, by the way, you want to get into a college that's going to make you study hard and where you're going to learn a lot, not where, you know, you're going to have a big time with your fraternities and sororities and you're not going to remember what, you know, the professor said in class. All right, it's the American Dream. The American Dream is not to party for 4 years and get heavily in debt. All right, the common man ideal, and Trump's just really good with that. You know, Trump may have created a realignment based on this common man ideal. All right, so there it is. Liberty, individualism, equality, democracy, common man ideal, rule of law, American Dream, and patriotism. All right, let's see what we got up here. Yeah. All right, so then we're headed to parties. Now, that may take some looking. So we're looking at, so first the definition. Remember, what they want is to win. All right, so remember what it's going to be. Win, unite these groups, run the government, raise money, recruit good candidates, mobilize supporters, and then as a party label, we added that. That was on the test. You know, you're not so sure who to vote for. Well, you vote for your party. All right, let's see if we can find it. See if we can find parties somewhere. Let's see. Election outcomes, debates, voter turnout. We did that. All right, that's getting close. That's all. Let's go up here. All right, so there's the quote on parties. One guy says he'd rather go to hell. Jefferson Scheider says you can't function without them. And I believe we got, no, there's the FCC. Let me see. There it is. It's trying to win elections. It wants power, but peaceful transfer of power. All right, so generally speaking, because they want to win, brings them to the middle. That explains Biden stay in power in spite of all the goofy things he says. He challenged a guy to a push-up contest the other day. There's the conventions. We'll come back to it. Coming back to it. There's the electoral. There they are. All right. Take a look at that. My mom just texted. Oh, Mackenzie, you're such a dang hypocrite. All right, you carry on about crap shooters, and then what do you do? All right, guilty, I plead. I'm guilty. All right, number one goal, political parties win. All right, so unify, bring together different folks. You know, so, I mean, in the Buttigieg candidacy, can gays and lesbians and African Americans work together? That is unclear. Or will 20% of African Americans, based on the African American unemployment rate, will they vote Republican? Will Hispanics or pro-life and tend to be anti-gay marriage stick with gays and lesbians because they don't like the immigration policies and rhetoric, or because of the unemployment rate? You know, so can these groups work together? All right, can the Reagan Republicans and the Trump Republicans work together? Okay, so that's the $1,000,000 question. All right, run the government. Hey, all the chairmen of all the committees, the speaker, I mean, the Democrats are running the House of Representatives. That's why Trump's being impeached. And the Republicans are running the Senate. That's why he's not going to get convicted. Okay. Mobilize supporters. So those Trump rallies, he's really, really good at it. Obama was good at it. Biden's really struggling there, you know. So that's the concern over Biden. You know, his crowds are lackluster. Okay. Raise money. It costs a lot of money. Recruit candidates, qualified candidates. Graves retired even though the last candidate who ran against him was in jail for a DUI. All right, so worm. And then I'm going to go ahead and put on an L. Label when voting. All right, not going to make a slide, but let's see what we got up here on the review sheet. All right, so we'll go back. Electoral College is on there somewhere. Let's see if it's Electoral College. Got to be on there. Needs to be on there. So let's put it right here. Electoral College. Duh. Mackenzie, you think the Electoral College ought to be on a test over the whole semester? Duh. All right. Let's see. Ah! There it is. There it is. Work your way up. There you go. So let's talk about the Electoral College. The convention. Yeah. So we won't look at the... So it's like a pep rally. It's got 3 goals. All right. Name the candidate. Unify the party. Adopt a platform. All right, 3 days. Day 1, everybody shows up. Day 2, the platform, keynote address. Day 3, VP. Day 4, the president. All right, so the general election, Tuesday, first Monday. Call the Electoral College, so there's how it works. 435 representatives, 100 senators. So 535, 3 in D.C., so 538 total. Half of that's 269, a majority of that is 270. All right. So 5 losers, most recently Trump. All right. In your lifetime, the Democrats have won 4 of 5 popular votes, but have only had 8 years of the presidency of your lifetime, thanks to the Electoral College. All right, requires an amendment. It's hard. The founders liked it. States, it gives more of a, y'all argued it gives more of a say to the states. It's a federalism thing. Okay, it creates this mandate to govern because you generally win in the Electoral College by more than you won in a popular vote. Okay. Let's take a look at the review sheet. Three function of conventions. 3 goals of conventions. Goals, 4 days of conventions. All right, there's the Electoral College. All right, that next stuff on parties, y'all did good on. All right. All right, so let's go over here. See if we get realignment. All right, so it's every 30-year thing, politics changes. All right, so it spells out Rice. You're going to have a realign on election. You're going to have a new issue. Immigration, kind of, if this ends up being a realignment, we don't know. One of the party changes, and the change endures. It's a lasting change. All right, and so you got like famous realignment. So let's go with the 2 big ones. Lincoln, hey, the Republicans controlled things for the next 60 years. All right, and then Roosevelt. So there's that New Deal coalition, of which... What? Intellectuals, some poor people, immigrants remain. African Americans have been added. All right, but to be long-term successful, Democrats kind of need this coalition. The working class is the swing vote this time. Can they get some of them back? All right, so then we had de-alignment in 68, and people were splitting their tickets. South started voting Republican. The working class were, divided. So that lasted for a while. But, Clinton years, Bush years, you had the return of the straight ticket. All right, so now we're evenly divided. All right, and we're in our, warring camps, and there's that big sword, and you choose your politics when you buy your house in a rural or a urban neighborhood, and the swing section of the country is not really red states and blue states, but the Mariettas all over the country. All right, suburbs. All right, so then you got two-party system. We're the exception. All right, the number one reason, what do you got? First past the post, plurality, single-member district. Whoever gets the most votes wins. So the folks who are not happy better unite behind one candidate, and you had what they call it, CGP Gray, the jungle election, whatever he called it. Other places have proportional representation, so you don't have to, minor parties can win. You get 10% of the votes, you get 10% of the power in Parliament or the Bundestag or whatever the thing is. Other reasons for it, we've always done it that way. Unless your name is Bloomberg or Perot, you don't have the money to get on the ballot, and we hadn't had much of a labor movement, so we've always been more moderate than Europe is. However, right now, what? Britain had this election. The Conservatives won. Boris Johnson's their version of Trump. Corbyn, the Labor leader, was their version really of Sanders. They ran a Sanders-Warren kind of figure. So the Conservatives won big. So, Democrats are looking at that and they're saying we better nominate, Buttigieg or Biden, not Sanders or Warren. All right, so there's, what's his name, Bashama. All right, compete for the center. Traditionally, you go too far right or left, you lose. All right, these multi-party systems, they got to form a government. And then you got third parties. All right, only Republicans, so one of the main parties takes over the issue. The Democrats became the Farmers Party for a while. Single issue parties, factional parties, ideological parties. So the Prohibition Party was a single issue party. The Progressives that Teddy Roosevelt run for was a splinter party. Let's get that on there, splinter. I've done that like 100 times, and then the PowerPoint has a mind of its own. Ideological party, the Green Party. And y'all did good with this. The good things, they bring up new issues, but they play the spoiler role. All right, so any third-party candidate right now is going to help Trump. Republicans are kind of locked in behind Trump. So if Biden, and so really now, Warren and Sanders are almost a third party. It's a centrist for the Democrats. The left side of the Democratic Party kind of spoiling things for them, possibly. The base of the Democratic Party, the folks who pressured Pelosi into impeachment. I'm not saying policeman. Man, that's the policeman. Now, I'm not saying policeman's right or wrong. I don't know. I hear you when you're saying censure is the way to go. And that may be the more politically astute way to go. I just can't tell. I can't tell if the Ukraine thing rises to the level of impeachment. I don't know. But it's being pushed by the left wing of the Republican Party. So if the Democrats nominated Biden and Warren says the heck with it, I'm running as or Bernie runs as a socialist, well then game over. All right. Okay, so we did this, I think. Let's take a look. Let's take a look if this is on there. Yeah. So the question is party in decline? And it's only in party in the electorate. All right, so we want to go quick on this one. Party in government, they're very disciplined. The Democrats work together in government. The Republicans work together in government. You're having party line votes on impeachment. We're seeing that in action. Party organization raises money, and they raise a lot of money. All right, but even though we're evenly divided, there's more independents than there are Democrats or Republicans. All right. Oh, I did it again. I cannot stop. It's because I'm an idiot. All right, can't stop myself. So there it is. That was kind of, we didn't really enjoy that all that much. Like we bounced with ideological homogeneity. All right, did I not change that? All right, I'm going to put it at 40%. Change the freaking PowerPoint, man. All right, 40% independent. I'm just going to put today. All right. But we're going to qualify that because remember we said they're leaners. All right. So friends of mine, I swear up and down they're not a Democrat or Republican, but they always vote Republican. So, you know, and you can go back in history. George Washington says, don't join a political party. But by the time his presidency ends, he's a de facto Federalist. So a lot of our independents are de facto Democrats and Republicans, and some of the independents are folks who are way over too far to the right to call themselves Republicans, or too far to the left to call themselves independent Democrats, so they call themselves independents. So just because somebody's independent doesn't mean they're moderate and, you know, split, you know, go back and forth between one election and another. My mother-in-law is a true independent. She has never voted for a presidential loser, I don't think. All right. She didn't vote for Trump, but she couldn't vote for Hillary, so she sat this one out. All right. But, you know, other than that, she's always voted for the winner. So there's a true centrist independence, but a lot of independents are not centrist. Having said that, there's more independents than Democrats and Republicans, so party in the electorate is where parties are the weakest. All right, let's see the review sheet. I think we're going to the presidency. Trust in government's down. We know that. We didn't do a slide on it. I'm just going to leave it there. You know we don't trust the government. You know, that's why Trump did so well. All right, so look what we got. Let's take a look here. So we've got three things here. All right, and dang, we've been going for a while. All right, so we got the president, we've got the media, and we've got bureaucracy. So we got to go kind of quick. All right, so we did a nice little review of the roles of the president. All right, oh, don't fall for it, Mackenzie. All right, find the president. Nope, that's going to be fun, but that's next semester. President, 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 president. There we go. You got impeachment, you got the president. We got roles. We got roles. All right. All right, so what? What the heck is that doing there? Oh, I remember. I did that. It didn't work. All right, so the symbolic role is chief of state. I'm not saying anything more about that. Symbolic role is chief of state. Good examples, representative of the nation. All right, people see America when they see you, so they want to see a good person. All right, party chief, duh. All right, how good a party chief is Trump? We right now kind of average because with midterms, you know, the party always loses. Democrats under Obama, party was Obama. You see right there was an infinitely better representative of the nation. Good man, good dad, good husband. Look at that man right there. In your family, that's who you want to be. Look at that woman. That's the kind of wife you want to be. All right. So phenomenal example and representation representative of the nation. So there's where he's at his worst, but at his best. But as party chief, there's where he's at his worst. All right. Okay. All right, Commander-in-Chief, I think we got that one. I don't think that's where we messed up, but, you know, take note of it. That's war stuff. All right, Chief Diplomat, you know, we missed that on the test. That's treaties. You know, we did better on our little quiz right there. All right, Legislator, Agenda Setter. So that's getting laws passed. Okay. So I don't want to say too much because I don't want to clog up all the, you know, bottom line on stuff. Carrying out the laws, chief executive. All right. Overseeing the bureaucracy, enforcing immigration laws. Little Rock, enforcing Brown versus Board of Education. All right, carrying out, FEMA, making sure the right people are appointed. All right, boom, we're done with that. Okay, review it. Make sure you got it. Da 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 da. There it is. Make sure you can answer that, because man, that did a lot of damage on that last test. All right, go down here. Make sure you can answer it again. Make sure you know it. Don't get confused. Okay. All right, so then we've got the constitutional powers. All right, the power to appoint is in the Constitution with the advice and the consent of a majority of the Senate. All right, presidents have a good batting average, not quite as much with judges because they're on there forever. All right, his legislative power state of the union. He can't make laws. All right, he can veto bills. He can do the pocket veto. You're well aware of the pocket veto. All right, another power is make treaties with advice and consent of the Senate. You got to have 2/3 of the Senate, so executive agreements are used to go around them. All right, the power to pardon. Ford pardoned Nixon. Take care clause, you're enforcing the laws there, so that's immigration stuff. All right, amnesty, so that's immigration stuff. Vietnam, Confederate veterans, there's Reagan talking nice about immigrants. The veto, what it says about the veto, Johnson said the record for having his vetoes overridden. The Whig Party because Jackson vetoed too much. There's not a line item veto. Clinton had it, Reagan wanted it, but it's declared unconstitutional. All right, hey, that's good. There's match and do that. Stop and match that up. Make sure you can get that. All right. Commander-in-Chief. So, hey, you got that, the War Powers Act, Tonkin Gulf Resolution. So that was important. Where the heck is Tonkin Gulf? There it is. All right, and so the War Powers Act designed to take power away from the president, give it to Congress. Congress hadn't really used it against a president. All right, there's what it says. 2 days, 2 months. 2 days to tell him when he's sending troops. 2 months convince him, let him stay there. If not, 30 days to leave. Remember Baghdadi, he didn't tell Nancy Pelosi. Beforehand, he didn't trust her. All right, so then there's impeachment. We know it awfully well because we're living it. Treason, bribery, high crimes and misdemeanors. All right, tends to be judges because that's the only way you get rid of them. We're about to have a trial in the Senate. We predict an acquittal, number one, because the numbers, 2/3 vote necessary. Some people miss that. Also, since the Republicans control the Senate. All right, you know these stories. You know them. All right, let's take a look. What we got? We got to go quick. Look at that. All right, presidential succession. Where's the media? Down there. All right, so what we're going to do, we're going to go straight into bureaucracy and the media, and we're going to handle it together. All right, so we got to, all right, come on. Let's work our way down. Ooh, I think we can do presidential succession at the same time that we do, yeah, there's cabinet stuff. All right. So there's the cabinet, 15 executive departments, secretary except for the attorney general. There's the jobs. You need to know that. That's on the review sheet. Advice, they tend to go native, so he doesn't trust them. Got to take the place. So there's the succession. So president, vice president, speaker of the House, president pro tempore of the Senate, and then cabinet members in order that the cabinet position was created. All right. So there's that. So how you want to do things? So it looks like we have the media. So let's go over here, and I won't scream this time. Well, I just did it for the heck of it. Hate to break a pattern. All right, so there it is. So originally we were partisan. Then in the Jackson era, we were the penny press. All right, then you got yellow journalists and muckrakers, Gilded Age and Progressive Era. Y'all did pretty good with that. You know, those two wasn't the problem. The ejected media from the 50s to the 70s, and then we've got more partisan again. All right, the Rolls, the Watchdog, they tell us about the bad stuff. All right, the Gatekeeper, they tell us what to think about. We're thinking about impeachment. All right, the horse race coverage. We're looking at poll numbers, winners and losers. You know, when we talk about impeachment, well, it's stupid because the polls are showing that Trump's numbers are going up. Polls are showing that the needle hadn't moved on support for impeachment. More so than like inside reports. You know, we're not watching the bureaucrats, the public servants testify. All right, we're thinking about what the polls say. Okay, so then, there's our little all sides spectrum on the media there. All right, and, we know that. Fox is conservative, MSNBC is very liberal, and then the media itself tends to be kind of liberal. All right, center left to left. All right, we tend to read articles that we like. Even when we read the same articles, we focus on the part of the articles that we like. Anything else? The bias, they sensationalize things. That makes us cynical, not liberal or conservative. FCC focuses on decency now, not giving both sides equal time. All right. Let's go. Let's go! All right, and let's see what we got. Well, we've got that. Okay, so we'll take a look at it. All right, so there's we listen to the radio still. TV still number one. All right, newspapers really struggling. All right, so spin, you shed whatever's going on, best popular light. They don't give access to reporters they don't like. Leaks is secret information. Impeachment is based on that. The deep state. Then they're doing the trial balloon. Aaron said that Biden, that's right, Biden floated a trial balloon that maybe be a one-termer, and then he denied it. Okay, so there's the models. That's for that thing. All right, so let's take a look. I think that takes care of us on the media. So now we just got to go to bureaucracy. All right. Okay, I'm just going to kind of go through it. All right. So what did we say? We had a nice little, let's get through the cabinet. Come on now. What the heck is that? All right, going down here. Yeah. Okay, so here's our bureaucracy thingy. All right, so what do? So these are the folks that take care, rule these folks. It's elitism. They're experts. So who's supposed to, so school system would be more democratic, right? So their job is to implement. They've got discretion over it. If the discretion's used too inconsistently, they'll make rules about things. Our latest example of rules, Department of Interior said on public land, no bear donut hunting. All right, and then the Trump Interior Department changed that rule. All right, so the perception of it is out of touch, it's inefficient. They think they know better than us. Okay, so the book says you need it because it's got, you need to do big things, all right? So if you don't have a lot of people working on implementing these policies, it's not going to go well. All right, so he says, hey, it's good to have rules when you're doing stuff like that. It's good to be able to hold people accountable, to have a chain of command. These folks are dedicated civil servants who are experts on it. They, you're going to have people specializing in their area, and everybody's got to, do the job pretty much the same way. They've got discretion, but they've got the same job that they're doing. All right, better than the old boy network. All right, so what do? They promote public welfare, they collect money, and they protect people. They're supposed to stay out of politics. The critique, representation is a big deal. The critique on the Trump witnesses is they've got political axe to grind. That was the Hatch Act. All right, the bureaucracy is representative. Okay, the Pendleton Act installed the civil service system. It uses oversight. That's what impeachment is. It's oversight over the bureaucracy. Tends to be fire alarm oversight when something goes wrong. Courts can have oversight over the bureaucracy. They can declare these rules that are made unconstitutional. The court declared the Hobby Lobby, you gotta provide birth control rule over unconstitutional. President can do a lot of stuff. Hire and fire, change the budget, reorganize, turn people against the bureaucrats. That's what Trump's done. He's turned people against these bureaucrats to an extent, issue executive orders. All right. And so then you just got the types. The independent agencies don't fit. NASA's Exhibit A. Some of these are independent agencies. Some of them are not. Some of them are cabinet agencies. All right. But the ATF, I believe we decided was an independent agency. They may be made independent agency. All right. Okay. Oh, so then we go to the other one. So what we have to do is we have to go up here to the media. You go all the way to the top. So the corporations, post office is number one example. Amtrak and AmeriCorps. All right, they make money. All right, these things regulate. The SEC regulates the stock market. Labor practice, National Labor Relations Board, the radio waves, the FCC won't let M&M be. By far the most important, the Fed, because they're regulating the economy. Let's see if that's got it. I bet we didn't keep it under 45 minutes. We get everything on there? Yeah, we got it on there. Yep, we got it on there. All right, let's go down here.